This is the very sad and, frankly, abhorrent state for retailers in London at the moment. Not just London, but in other places as well. These shoplifters just casually, brazenly filling their bags with stuff off the shelves from a Boots in London, ostensibly with no fear of any consequences whatsoever. So I posted on X, just for general discussion, whether it would be acceptable for shopkeepers to have some form of defense, such as a taser. Now, for the avoidance of doubt, they are not legal, they are not permitted, and any kind of so-called self-defense weapon is not permitted in law currently. That's not to say you can't use something in self-defense as a weapon if that's necessary, but only if the force is necessary and then turns out to be proportionate. And also, you can use reasonable force to detain a shoplifter in a situation such as this. The point of this video was because one person in the comments said, and this is no criticism of that person because a lot of people think this, and there's very good reason people think this, but what they said was this. They said, technically, it's not legally theft until they leave the store with the would-be stolen goods, which is, of course, not true. Because it is a myth that a shoplifter needs to leave the store before that becomes theft. Theft has 5 elements of an offence, and what all of the elements of any offence are made out, which also gives rise to a warning about when you talk to police. I'll come back to that in a minute. Now, I support the police, but also I do also support being careful what you say to the police, because you might trip yourself up. But every offence has certain elements, and those elements need to be proven in court by the prosecutor, and they are not disproven, at least on the balance of probabilities, by any defense. And by that I mean, if there's any defense, you raise a defense and the prosecutor must then disprove the self-defense to the same criminal standard. However, those elements of the offense in the case of theft are the dishonest appropriation of property belonging to another with the permanent intention of depriving that person of it. Now, dishonest, well, if you put something in your trolley, then that's not dishonest. If you put something in a bag that's in your trolley, that's not dishonest. If you put something in your pocket, that's not necessarily dishonest, but is moving towards not being quite as honest as putting it in your trolley or in a bag. If you put it in a concealed pocket, a zipped pocket, or some kind of concealed compartment of your bag that you have the clear intention of disguising and keeping concealed, that is then becoming more and more dishonest. In this case, you could argue that they are, it's not a very good argument from the look of the video, but you could argue that they are just filling their bags full of stuff and they intend to pay for it. But I think any reasonable viewer here would say that there is no reasonable doubt that they are stealing these goods, at least in my view. But the myth is this. The myth is that all of the elements of the offence need to be made out only after they leave the final point of payment or leave the store. That is not true. If they dishonestly appropriate property which belongs to another, the shop in this case, and they intend to permanently deprive them of it, and there is no reasonable doubt that they intended to pay for it and so on, then it becomes theft at that moment. They do not have to leave the store. Let me know in the comments if you were aware of that, whether that's something that you've come across before. Let me know your thoughts, whether you think that's right or not, and what you think we should do about this kind of brazen shoplifting. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.